Hello everyone and welcome back once again to another episode of Yolk'd. It's been quite a while since we brought you an episode and we've been doing lots of stuff in the past month or so. We've been bouncing all over the world, you could say. Been to Taipei. But I'm back with my co-host Kyle, or am I your co-host or are you my co-host?
I think we have a mutual relationship.
We're both co-hosts together.
We are.
But today we're celebrating summer. That's why we're not coming to you from our usual location. Where are we actually right now, Kyle? I'm not really sure.
This is just our summer blowout extravaganza hangout spot.
Just like we just have this house and we can just come here whenever and hang out and...
Pretty much.
Nice. Cool. Well, we're in here bringing you guys the latest tech news. The rest of our team is back there behind us. I assume they're having loads of fun because it's summer, right?
Why aren't we back there?
I don't know. But I mean, how much fun could people really have in a backyard with a pool in summer and sunlight, joy? Well, that looks truly fascinating, Kyle. Our coworkers in their natural habitat, having lots of fun without us.
Well, we have air conditioning.
If you bought a GTX Titan video card recently, I have some sad news to report. The video card's namesake, the Titan supercomputer located at Oak Ridge National Laboratory, has been dethroned as the world's fastest computer. No word yet on how this will affect GTX Titan benchmarks, but I do have some details on the usurper. It's called Tianhe 2, or Milky Way 2, and it is based on about 80,000 Intel Xeon Ivy Bridge CPUs and Intel Xeon Phi coprocessors. That gives it 3.12 million computing cores, or almost enough to play Metro on max settings. To put this in perspective, the Titan rocked about 262,000 Kepler-based K20X cores and scored 17.59 petaflops per second in the Linpack benchmark. Tianhe 2 blew that number away by posting an astounding 33.86 petaflops per second, almost doubling Titan's score. To be fair, the Titan does maintain the energy efficiency crown, delivering an impressive 2,143 megaflops per watt. The Milky Way 2 also rocks a petabyte of memory, 12.4 petabytes of storage, and a delicious malt nougat core topped with creamy caramel and covered with rich milk chocolate.
NVIDIA announced Tuesday that it would begin licensing its GPU cores and visual computing patent portfolio to device manufacturers, a new business model for the company that will allow their technology to be implemented into a range of other products. Several challenges have prompted NVIDIA's new approach, including the fierce competition in mobile devices and the grueling slowdown of the PC market. Additionally, improvements in integrated graphics and the explosion of smartphones and tablets have been stealing the spotlight from the company's high-end graphics. NVIDIA says the first GPU core licenses will be based on its Kepler architecture, which is currently used in their GeForce graphics, Quadro workstation cards, and Tesla supercomputing GPUs. Their next-generation Tegra mobile processor, codenamed Logan, also uses Kepler. The company mentioned that licensees will receive all necessary designs, collateral, and support to integrate NVIDIA's power graphics cores into their own devices. And licensees of its visual computing portfolio will have creative control of developing their own GPU functionality while enjoying design freedom.
Next up, we're going to segue over to Joanne, who usually has some announcements that we usually poke fun at in one way or another. But I hear today, actually, she has some truly epic and groundbreaking news.
Groundbreaking.
Yes, it's so
brown that you wouldn't believe.
Can't even say the word properly.
Didn't come from a hole in the ground.
It's summer! But no, seriously, guys, I do have a very special announcement for this episode of Yolk'd, and that is Jenny. She will be our new Newegg TV member, and she'll be helping to cover some of the videos that we do.
What are you talking about? No, the people you work with are crazy.
Don't listen to her.
Joanne,
The Newegg TV team recently spent 3 months or so wandering the streets of Taipei, Taiwan, in search of a mysterious and elusive technology trade show known as Computex. While the trip was ultimately fruitful and Kyle's bouts of vomiting and fever eventually subsided, we did manage to bring you, our faithful viewers, elaborate coverage of Intel's newest Haswell processors that were launched at the convention. So now that Haswell is old news, it's time to start talking about what's next. Can we look forward to another launch within the next year? Perhaps another CPU socket to render our shiny new Z87 boards obsolete? Well, perhaps not. If you follow Intel's launch cycle, you may be familiar with their tick-tock method of scheduling new releases. They aim for yearly refreshes, with a tock year denoting a new CPU architecture and a tick year being a shrink down of their manufacturing process. Haswell, for example, was a Tock, since it was a brand new architecture but still used the same 22nm manufacturing process as its predecessor Ivy Bridge. Newly leaked roadmaps, thanks to Asder00 on Blogspot, however, point to a possible hiccup coming to this cycle in 2014. Rather than the expected Broadwell launch, the tick to Haswell's Tock, we're seeing a big block labeled Haswell Refresh. I should clarify that we're talking about rumors and unverified speculation here, but this would seem to indicate that Broadwell may arrive later than originally anticipated. Does this mean that Intel is slowing down their production intentionally? AMD has had its struggles in the past few years, which may be reducing some of the pressure on Intel to keep up with the breakneck development cycle bar that they themselves set. On the other hand, it could also mean that your shiny new Z87 board has longer legs than you might have expected, as we can reasonably assume that a Haswell refresh would not necessitate a new socket or chipset. As of now, we can only speculate and wait patiently until mysterious code names like Broadwell, Skylake, and Skymont are incarnated as fresh new CPUs for us. As a wise man once put it, overclock until it hurts. Until it megahertz.
Over the past few years, many of us have grown fond of solid-state drives for their sleek form factor, non-moving parts, and perhaps most of all, their speed and agility. Still, the transfer speeds of SSDs are severely mitigated due to an ever-present bottleneck, the SATA interface. While still a robust technology, SATA lacks the bandwidth to handle the data throughput that SSDs are capable of achieving. Consider it good news, then, that in the midst of such bottleneckery, Samsung has taken steps to manufacture the first PCIe-based SSD for Ultrabooks. Using PCIe's wider data path, the new XP941 reads at nearly 1.4 gigabytes per second. That's 2.5 times faster than today's quickest SATA SSDs, and fast enough to move 500 gigs in 6 minutes. If that's not impressive enough, the drive also comes in a tinier M.2 format because technology. Samsung has yet to announce which laptop manufacturers will receive the XP941, but at least one company is already a suspected customer. Apple's new MacBook Air is shipping with an identical PCIe SSD from Samsung, which is less likely to be a coincidence and more likely to be a major compatibility issue.
Well, I think that's enough tech news for today, Paul. I think we deserve a break.
I'm with you there.
Let's just hang out.
Let's hit the pool.
Let's do it.
I like it.
Hey, give that back!